Since 1989, the third Friday in September has been set aside to remember our POWs and MIAs and to renew our ongoing efforts to locate and return those MIAs yet to be recovered. So we're going to have three panels here, consisting of POWs and POW family members who will share their remembrances about that day 50 years ago when they or their loved ones came home. So panel one, Colonel Bob Lilac, Kathy Hoffman, Kathy Long, and Sondra Hamelin. Would you please come forward and have a seat? Sondra Hamelin, father, Commander Howard Rutledge. He was an S-8 pilot who was shot down over North Vietnam in 1965. So he was nearly 8 years at POW. Sondra, would you come up here, please? How old were you when he was shot down, and what do you remember about that?
I was 15 when he was shot down. The summer of '65, he came out. There was a good friend of his, Bob Shoemaker, who was shot down. And he was very upset, and he said, come outside on the patio. And I went out there, and he said, they're going to tell you this is a conflict. It's not a conflict. It's a war. Don't ever forget that. We went through, I graduated from high school in 1968 in the middle of all of this. In July of '68, my brother was injured in a diving accident which rendered him a quadriplegic. So in addition to my father being gone, we now had a whole separate issue to deal with. And what that meant for us was that when he returned in '73, and this is what we wore to get into Balboa Hospital. It was a badge, and it said egress recap, and none of us still know what that means, but whatever. That's what we got in there. We decided not to go to Miramar because obviously with my brother in this situation, we decided that my mother would only go, and we watched everything on closed circuit TV at Balboa Hospital and waited for him there. His seeing my brother for the first time, we wanted to be a family event, not shared everywhere else. So when they told us he was coming down the hallway, my sisters and I lined up behind my brother, up in order of our age. I'm the oldest, my sister Ted and my sister Bart. He didn't know which of us was which. It had been a long time. So I stepped out, and then Peggy stepped out, and then Barbara stepped out. And that's how he met us all again. After my dad was shot down and then my brother got hurt, my life took a left, and I spent 40 years in healthcare trying to make it okay for everyone that is ill or sick or can't take care of themselves. And that's the story of our lives. Thank you.
Now we're going to have our panel two. That'll be Captain Jack Ent, Kathy Ent, Vicki Sable, and Paige Rander. Please come forward and have a seat. Okay. Now, Paige Rander's father, Sergeant Daniel, Staff Sergeant Donald Rander, was a U.S. Army military intelligence special agent in South Vietnam when he was taken prisoner in 1968. Paige, could you come up here, please? That picture there shows, I think, when your dad came home and your whole family was there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the picture that you see on the screen is from probably about 2 weeks after Daddy returned to Valley Forge Army Hospital. It was in our hometown, then hometown of Owens Mills, Maryland, and a good family friend of ours was a PR specialist, and she got every TV station in the area, in the Baltimore area, out to it was the fire station, and we had this big welcome home. There's a picture, another picture, I'm not sure if I shared it with you. It's kind of a family heirloom of me with my dad on that day. And so many other pictures that were related to this day that were taken by a husband and wife team that did an expose on my mom and my dad in the Washington Post magazine.
By the way, her mom, Andrea Rander, Paige and Taylor and Judy will be speaking about her and later. But anyway, your mom was one of she and Sybil Stockdale kind of started the League of Wives, as I recall.
Yes.
Yeah. And your dad what do you remember about him? What was he like? I think you shared that when he was in prison, he used his wit and his knowledge of baseball to kind of throw the guards off. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, he was my dad. For us, what was interesting about my dad, he's one of the few enlisted, one of the few Army that was captured, and he was also one of the few African Americans captured. And so there was a lot of back and forth. They would ask him questions, and he would say, I'm just enlisted. They don't tell me anything. I'm just African American. They don't tell me anything. But when it got to the point where he had, in this time of constantly being interrogated and tortured, he decided that he was going to share the names of the 1951 Dodgers championship team. Those were the names that he gave us. And he outwitted. I want to thank Dr. Dave and the museum, as well as Taylor and Judy will speak later, for telling my mom's story. She was supposed to be here today. We had a family emergency that kept her home in the Washington, D.C. area. The wives that are here, whether they were POW wives or MIA wives, they were the reason that so many did come home, that their stories were kept alive. Taylor and Judy will share a little bit more about that later. I do have the bracelets for the brainchild of the group called Viva, Voices in Vital America. And I had a original telegram that was sent to us congratulating us on Dad's return. And before I leave this weekend, I would like to donate that to